Hello, welcome to Secret Zone. Subscribe and turn on notifications for stories you won't forget. The house was quiet, almost unnaturally so. The children were finally asleep, their soft breaths echoing faintly through the walls, and the dim light made every shadow linger just a little longer. She spoke softly from the kitchen, her voice calm, caring, familiar, the kind of voice that used to make him feel safe, cherished, loved. She said she had prepared food for him, tucked away in case he got hungry later, and admitted that she was tired, planning to relax and rest soon. On the surface, everything seemed ordinary, peaceful even. But beneath it, something felt off. A subtle tension that he couldn't quite name. His mind, almost without permission, drifted backward to the first time he ever saw her. He remembered that crowded room, the air buzzing with strangers, and how she had walked in so simply, so unaware that it had felt like the world shifted in that moment. He remembered sitting across from her and thinking that if life ever allowed him even a simple cup of coffee with her, everything would feel perfect, complete, enough. But as he watched her now, her movements careful, her eyes avoiding his, the memory collided with reality, and he realized that what he had once thought perfect now carried cracks he had seen coming. The air in the house felt heavier. The quiet that should have been comforting was now filled with unsaid words, with thoughts he had tried to bury, and with the creeping question of whether love, no matter how deep, could survive the secrets that hid behind such gentle words. And in that instant, the story of their love, laughter, and trust began to feel like a fragile illusion, one wrong word away from shattering completely. The house was unusually quiet, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. The children were asleep, their soft breathing almost musical in its steadiness, and the dim light cast long, gentle shadows that stretched across the rooms. She moved carefully, almost hesitantly, telling him she had prepared food for him and stored it where it would stay fresh. Her voice was calm, familiar, soothing, soft enough that it could have been mistaken for care, for love. She admitted she was tired, and she planned to take a bath and rest early. Everything about her tone suggested ordinary concern, ordinary fatigue, ordinary life, but he felt something lurking beneath, an almost imperceptible unease that refused to leave his chest. He watched her from the doorway, noticing the slight tension in her shoulders, the careful avoidance of his gaze. Memories crept into his mind. He thought of the first time he had noticed her, back when everything felt simpler, lighter, a crowded room full of strangers. And yet the world seemed to shift when she walked in. He remembered sitting across from her, feeling nervous, thinking that a single cup of coffee with her would make life complete. And at that moment, he had believed it could. Now, standing here, watching her move around with that gentle voice, he realized that perfection was an illusion. Something had changed. The care, the warmth, the laughter, all of it had been real but hidden beneath it. Subtle cracks had begun to appear, unnoticed at first, and tonight, in this quiet, seemingly peaceful house, those cracks were beginning to show. His chest tightened as he realized that love, no matter how deep or long, could be fragile, delicate, and dangerously breakable if left unprotected by honesty and trust. Every small movement she made seemed like it carried a secret, a hidden layer of truth he had yet to uncover, and the thought of it sent a shiver through him. The peace that should have been comforting was now almost suffocating. He wanted to reach out, to ask the right questions, to hear the truth before it became impossible to bear. And yet, he remained still, knowing that the first words spoken tonight could either repair the cracks or shatter everything he had ever believed about their life together. He remembered the beginning, the time when love felt effortless, unshakable, and radiant. She had appeared so simply, unaware of the way the world seemed to lean toward her presence. Every detail of those early moments was engraved in his mind. The way she smiled without hesitation, the lightness in her laughter, the quiet curiosity in her eyes. They had shared stolen conversations, little glances, a slow unfolding of intimacy that made him feel alive. Life had felt fuller with her in it, as though every mundane moment gained warmth and significance simply because she was there. He recalled their shared dreams, the whispered plans they had made late at night when the rest of the world was asleep, the gentle promises they had written in silence. Even the smallest gesture, Zahan lightly brushing his A smile that lingered just a fraction too long had been enough to make him believe in love as a permanence. He remembered walking alongside her in quiet places, feeling as if nothing else mattered, as if the world itself had conspired to make them find each other. And yet, even in that happiness, he began to notice the subtleties of human nature, the fragility that accompanies love, the temptation that lies beneath desire. But in those early days, everything had felt solid, real, true. He had believed that love alone was enough to withstand anything. He had believed that trust, once given, would never falter. He remembered nights spent sharing dreams, mornings spent in soft conversation, afternoons lost in each other's company. Every memory was a reminder of what they had been, of what he had loved so fiercely, of the comfort and belonging she had once given him. And now, standing in the still house, that memory pressed against him like a ghost. Love had felt like a shield, a protective warmth that nothing could penetrate, but he knew, slowly, painfully, that the human heart is never truly immune. The cracks were always there, invisible, waiting for the right moment to appear. And he realized that even the purest beginnings could be undone by a single act of betrayal, by a single choice made in secrecy. The thought made his stomach churn, but also sharpened his resolve to confront, to demand truth, to understand the fragile line between love and deceit. The night stretched on, heavy with anticipation. She spoke softly again, offering care, concern, affection, but this time, he felt a tension he could no longer ignore. Her words, her tone, even her gentle movements seemed rehearsed, like she was hiding something behind every gesture. He began to recall every moment of subtle distance, every guarded glance, every unexplained absence. The necklace she had worn recently, so elegant, so unfamiliar, lingered in his memory like a question he couldn't silence. He asked, carefully, almost hesitantly, if it had been a gift. Her reaction, a brief flicker of hesitation, made the truth he had sensed impossible to ignore. The room seemed to shrink around them as he asked the question that had haunted him for weeks, months, the question that would either destroy their illusion of peace or confirm it. Had she been involved with someone else? The silence that followed was suffocating. She looked at him, her gaze flickering with fear and uncertainty. She told him not to speak to her with love, not to act as if he still cared. And yet he told her he did. His voice trembled only slightly, but his eyes held a weight that demanded honesty. Slowly, she admitted it. Her voice shook as she confessed, apologized, and tried to explain. At least, she said, she was not lying anymore. But the damage had been done. Honesty, when offered after betrayal, did not heal it, merely confirmed the depth of the wound. His heart ached with a quiet fury, a mixture of sorrow and disbelief. Memories of laughter, of soft mornings and shared dreams, crashed into him alongside the stark reality of her confession. The house, once warm and comforting, felt suddenly foreign, and in that moment, he understood a cruel truth, that love without trust is empty, fragile, and fleeting, and no apology, however sincere, can restore what was already broken. He could feel her pleading, her desperation, her hope that words, memories, and apologies could turn back time. She begged him to sit, to talk, to remember what they had once shared. She reminded him of laughter, soft mornings, whispered promises, and dreams built together. But he had learned that memory alone cannot repair the foundation when it has been fractured. He realized that betrayal begins long before it is discovered. Small omissions, hidden truths, quiet compromises on that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. He told her, gently but firmly, that respect is the core of love, and once it is gone, even the deepest affection cannot survive. He made his choice. He turned toward the door, leaving behind the life they had built, but carrying with him the strength that comes from self-respect. She followed, pleading, trying to reclaim the love she had fractured, but he remained steadfast. As the door closed, the silence in the house grew heavier than any argument, any conversation, any plea. Days passed. The house felt colder, emptier, larger, as the echoes of laughter and warmth were replaced by reflection and understanding. He replayed the memories, the romance, and the betrayal, and learned a lesson that would stay with him forever. Love is proven not in soft words or fleeting affection, but in loyalty, honesty, and respect. Romance can ignite passion, but only respect sustains it. Some lines, once crossed, can never be undone. Walking away is not weakness, it is courage. It is strength, it is the ultimate act of self. And sometimes, choosing yourself is the only way to honor the love you once had. The house was quiet once more, but it no longer felt like home. The laughter, the warmth, the shared dreams. Te Weragone, leaving only echoes and memories that refused to fade. He realized something that night that no love story ever truly prepares you for. Love alone is never enough. Words whispered softly, gestures of care, even years of shared laughter, they cannot survive betrayal, cannot heal when trust is broken. Respect is the foundation, and once it cracks, nothing can fully restore what was lost. He chose to walk away, not out of anger, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect, and the understanding that some lines, once crossed, can never be repaired. She had destroyed more than their romance. She had destroyed the illusion of safety, the certainty of loyalty. And yet, in the midst of heartbreak, there was clarity, a painful truth. Walking away is not weakness, it is Kura. Sometimes, choosing yourself is the only way to honor the love you once held, and to protect the person you are from being diminished by betrayal. In the end, he understood that love is beautiful, fragile, and fleeting, but respect is eternal, and sometimes, letting go is the bravest act of love there is. Take care, and see you in the next video.